Hello all. So today I'm talking about a Kia with the P0346 code, what it is, and how you go about fixing it. So what is a Kia P0346 code? Well, it's a camshaft position sensor A circuit range performance bank 2. And what does this mean? Well, the onboard computer uses the camshaft position sensor to know the location of the camshaft as it spins. It uses this for timing, and it's seen an error with this, so to be troubleshooting know why. And sensor A is always the exhaust cam sensor, and bank 2 is always the opposite of the number 1 cylinder. So if you have a V6 engine, just find the number 1 cylinder, and the opposite of that is bank 2. And what are some possible causes? Well, it could be a bad cam sensor, could be in the wiring, could be an open or short, and possibly a blown fuse. And so the first thing to do when you get this code is to locate sensor A, and this can be different depending on the Kia year and engine type. So it's always a good idea to find an electrical diagram for your particular engine type and year. And there can't just be a single sensor, or there could be multiple sensors like this where it has 2. This is very common. And sensor A is always going to be on the exhaust side of the engine. So if you find the manifold where it's going down to the catalytic converter and the muffler and all that side of the engine, then the one closest to that is going to be sensor A. Sensor B will be closest to the intake. It's the intake sensor. So if you look for the intake, the one closest to that, to the intake, is going to be sensor B. So first thing to do, locate sensor A. And after you locate it, the next thing is to examine the wiring plug really good, because anything bad with the wiring, a bad connection, open, short, or anything like this is going to cause the same symptoms as a bad sensor. So you want to check out the wiring and be sure that all looks good. And if you want to, you can also run some tests on it. They're fairly simple to do. What's going on with the wires is that one will have power coming to it. When the key is in the on position, you'll get voltage coming in on one wire. One wire will be ground, and one wire will be a signal wire that goes back to the onboard computer. And so what you could do is put the key in the on position, and you could check to make sure that the pin's getting power. Again, you'll need an electrical diagram for your particular engine and year to know for sure what's going on. But the voltage should be like 5 volts, 9 volts, or 12 volts. It could vary, but you'll get power to the circuit when the key is on the on position. And then you'll have a ground, which you can test with continuity, and you'll have a signal wire going back to the onboard computer, which you could also test for continuity if you wanted to. And one thing to keep in mind with all of this is that this is on a fuse. The fuse is usually located inside the engine compartment. There's a fuse box that's usually located inside of that. Again, it'll vary on this location, even what it's called, depending on the year of the Kia and the engine type. For example, this is a 2012 Kia, and it's labeled SNSR3 would be the one on this particular one, but this can change depending on the year. But just be aware that that circuit's on a fuse. So if you're not getting power to it, then look for a blown fuse. And so if that all looks good, the wiring all looks good, you're getting power to it, there's no blown fuses or anything like that, then very likely it's time to go ahead and swap out this cam position sensor. And the sensor itself is fairly easy to swap out, but it'll depend on the location, how hard it is to replace. Since if anything's in the way, or if it's up against by the firewall or anything like this, then that can make it a little more difficult. But if it's on top of the engine, then it'll be easy. You'll just have a 10mm bolt going to it. You'll have a wiring harness. You just pull it off. This will have a little seal that makes it a little bit hard to pop out, but they just pop out, and you just pop the new one in, and that's basically it. But again, it'll just vary how difficult it is depending on where it's placed. And so that's basically it. I just wanted to give a real quick brief overview of how you go about fixing a Kia with the P0346 code. If you have anything to add, please comment down below. If you have any questions, ask me and I'll try to answer them. If this video helps you, please click like, please click subscribe, and have a good day.